turpitude? You were charged with check forgery, but at the trial, the prosecutor brought in your previous arrest for battering your ex-boyfriend.
I caught him stealing my daughter's lunch money. That creep.
I can't believe they put him on the stand.
Well, my lawyer objected, but the judge said it showed evidence of
Moral turpitude. It's their smart aleck lawyer way of saying you had bad character. For example, stealing a loaf of bread is a crime of moral turpitude, but hitting the creep isn't.
Meaning what?
Meaning the judge overstepped his authority, and we have grounds for an appeal.
Girlfriend, you is something else.
I'll start the paperwork after lockdown. I never leave a homegirl hanging.
Alex, I got a check from that insurance company.
Oh, good.
Wouldn't have happened without that letter you wrote. Thanks.
Oh,
Gonna keep it.
that's sweet. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna miss you.
You're not.
Open up, so we can see what it is. So open it. All right.
Ooh, foaming milk.
DeMonaco, you really gonna be one of them $300 an hour lawyers when you get out? $500 an hour. No, Alex, you're gonna be like my man Johnny Cocker. Yeah, well. She gonna be the woman. WOMAN. That's right.
You're happening, my girl. Come on. Let's go.
Okay. Where we go?
Check it out. All right. We was gonna bake you a cake, but we know you got to watch your girl and figure.
Oh, yeah.
So we decided to get you a special pizza instead, just so you'll remember what's important when you get out of here.
Ready?
You ready?
You, girl.
Thank you. But there'll be no man for Alex DeMonaco.
Girl, you're crazy.
No.
You lost your mind.
Who is in here because of love? Raise your hand. Come on. I rest my case. Thank you.
All right. All of us are bona fide members of the Been Done Wrong by a Man Club. I got a special little anthem for all of us. It's a nice little ditty. Want to hit? Here it goes.
Oh, look at her go.
At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, and so you're back from outer space. I just walked in trying to hear with that look on your face. I should have changed those stupid locks. I should have made you leave your key. But I know, but I just want to say, you'd be back for me. Go on now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now, 'cause you're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with the God and that crumble? You think I'll lay down and die? Oh, no, I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive.
Inmate Valdez, J5601, report for inspection. Prisoner on the floor. All subblock D inmates report to the yard at 13 hours. Subblock Delta report to the yard.
Did you make this? No. I charged it at Nordstrom's. Look, You're an ex-con now, and you're gonna need all the help you can get. Don't write your hair. Don't call.
Glowing report from Mendocino. Model prisoner completed law studies through the internet. I guess you must be a pretty smart woman. So tell me, DeMonaco, how'd you end up serving 5 years for insurance fraud?
Smart woman, foolish choices.
There are rules here, just like Mendocino. Learn them, you'll get along. Break them, you'll book yourself a rocket ride back to your cell. And in case you're wondering, underneath this delightful and captivating facade, I am not a nice man. This way, please. According to the terms of your parole, you may not consort with other criminals or leave the city. You may not stay out past 11 p.m. except for employment. Election's coming up. Who are you voting for mayor?
No one. A convicted felon can't vote.
Once a week, you will see me for formal interviews. Any prospects for employment?
Is that another trick question?
I'll set up some interviews.
I would prefer a smoke-free environment. You know, I'd like to work with women to, avoid the potential of sexual harassment. Oh, and I have an allergy to dust.
No debe decir que tiene gripa. Nos va a enfermar todos.
De verdad, tuvo que encabronar el carcelero.
¿Tú crees que eso es fácil?
Que sí estaba encerrada, mano.
Sí, pero ella necesita a alguien que ayude a recordarlos que es un verdadero hombre.
Qué lástima, cabrones. Ustedes no califican.
Whoa. Where'd you learn Spanish, lady? Talking to your Mexican nanny in Pacific Heights?
Try Boyle Heights, East LA, Roosevelt High.
Oh, we got us a homegirl. Way to go, sister. Yeah.
Sign in, please.
Are egg rolls and Chinese hot mustard a crime?
Rule number 6. All incoming items subject to search.
Anything else?
Now that you mention it. Rule number 3. All residents must submit to random drug tests.
My husband was an attorney specializing in insurance litigation. My husband was running a scam with some doctors to defraud the insurance companies. I had no idea. But the DA said that I did.
And your husband disappeared before they could arrest him?
With our daughter, Mia. I was the office manager, so my name was on a whole lot of important documents.
Right. And with the defrauded insurance companies breathing down the DA's neck.
Who convinced the judge that I was lying, so...
Listen, one thing before we start. We're not talking about a standard skip trace here. Your husband's an attorney who's wanted by the law. Got a picture of Mia?
Can I get that back? Because it's the only one I have of her.
Not fast enough?
Oh, wow.
Kids can change a lot in 5 years.
I know.
Got a program that'll show you what she'd look like today. Here we go.
How may I direct your call? One moment, please.
Thanks for seeing me. Joel Wyckoff referred me to you.
Good criminal attorney, Joel. How can I help you, Miss DeMonaco?
Alex. Well, you see, I just want...
Make sure these go out into a nice pouch, Peggy. Joel said something about getting your criminal record sealed.
Well, not exactly. I spent 5 years in prison for insurance fraud. I was innocent. It's a long story. Anyway, while I was in prison, I decided to attend law school.
Law school?
Bay City's college. It's an internet law school.
Coffee, Peggy.
Anyway, I worked really, really hard. I studied my butt off. 5 years it took me, but finally I got my law degree. Top of my class.
Congratulations.
But as a convicted felon, I can't practice law.
Well, you could try to file for an expungement or a state bar hearing.
I want a pardon from the governor.
Sir, the Miller brief. You wanted a case where the judge sanctioned the plaintiff for failure to comply by dismissing the case. I haven't found anything where the judge dismissed the case outright. Here's instances where he provided evidentiary and monetary sanctions. What I think we can do is we can argue that...
I don't want to argue. I want the case law to argue for me. Miss DeMonaco, I think it's commendable that you used your time in prison so constructively, but wouldn't it be easier for a young woman such as yourself to try to make a career in, say...
Say fashion?
Something that wouldn't be such an uphill battle.
Your firm was a major contributor to the governor's campaign 2 years ago, and he was a classmate of yours at Harvard Law School. See, pardons are about politics. I know that, and you know that.
Be that as it may.
See, the truth is that I only started studying law in prison because I just wanted to get back at my husband. But something happened along the way, and I got hooked. When I find my daughter, Mia, I'll be able to make a living. This is her birthday. I bought her the unicorn. Isn't she gorgeous?
I'm sorry, Miss DeMonaco. Perhaps I can recommend someone.
People versus Hirsch.
Excuse me?
A
panel of the California Court of Appeals ruled that the dismissal of the case was an appropriate sanction for failure to comply.
Never heard of it.
It was a slip opinion handed down a week ago. I usually read the slips before I go to bed. You know, after Cosmo and Vogue.
I'm impressed.
Well, that's the idea. So now that you are, it would seem time for a little quid pro quo.
After you went to work that morning, you went to Mobile, Alabama?
His sister lives there. She never liked me.
You lived there for almost a year under the name Walt Whitman.
Jason majored in English Lit.
Your daughter attended the local Montessori preschool.
She did? I always wanted her to try Montessori.
Yeah, I spoke to the teacher at the school. She said she still had some of Mia's things. I figured you'd want them, so I gave him your address. Anyway, after Mobile, there was New Orleans, Chapel Hill, and Key Biscayne. Before he left Florida, your husband transferred a lot of money into a couple offshore accounts in the Bahamas.
How much?
Almost $5 million.
$5 million? You're kidding, right? That guy would have a fit if I put premium gas in the car. How is it that you found out about all this stuff and the police couldn't?
I was a teenage hacker. Then I was a chip jock for the CCU, Computer Crimes Unit, California Attorney General's office. Anyway, it's possible that your husband and your daughter are no longer in the U.S., which makes finding them a lot more difficult and a lot more expensive.
I'd have a few stocks Grandma Alex left me.
Look, I could find them tomorrow. Or it could take a year. Or it could take more than a year. I think you should consider that before you start.
Whatever it takes.
It'll be a $2,000 retainer to start.
It's the pardon book. You know, to give to the governor for the appeal.
I believe that's what you engaged my services for.
I know, but you're busy, and time is money. Besides, it's all there. Character witnesses, letters of reference.
You did all that in a week?
Heck no. Spent 3 years doing this. Now, I know that sometimes this can get a little exaggerated.
Mr. DeMonaco, your retainer check, it bounced.
Oh, I can explain that.
Are you aware that check fraud is a parole violation?
I had the money. I just had to write another check to Castlebaum because he used the retainer on finding out my husband has $5 million stashed in the Bahamas and my daughter goes to a Montessori school.
Mr. DeMonaco.
It's Alex. If you just give me a few days, I will find a way to cover the check.
And what happens the next time? Leave quietly, and I won't call your parole officer.
Maybe I could do some work for you, some investigative research, or I could interview witnesses.
Out of the question, I already have a paralegal.
But I know the law. I mean, you even said so yourself. How am I different to anybody else around here?
You're a convicted felon, and you don't have a law license.
So easy for you, isn't it? Your Harvard degree and your parties with the mayor. You can't imagine that a person might go to jail for something that she didn't do. Because in your perfect world, that just doesn't happen, does it?
Go home.
I'm not a loser. I'm a good person, and I want to be a lawyer. And not to help my rich friends get richer, but to help people who really need it. Didn't you ever want to do that, Mr. Whitney? Or wasn't that on your schedule at Harvard Law?
Peggy, would you please call security?
Okay, I'm going. But let me tell you one thing. I would rather be me, a girl with a record, than be some rich, heartless, spoiled snob like you. Oh. Sorry.
Our client is Gleason and Berkowitz. You've probably heard of them.
Not really.
They're one of the biggest accounting firms in the state. And they used to be the accountants for Coal Tar.
Them I've heard of.
Well, a few months ago, they fired Gleason and Berkowitz with a year left on their contract. And now G&B is suing for wrongful termination.
Hey, I don't bite. Even though I did have to wear that mask in prison. You know, the one like Hannibal Lecter had with the little bars across the teeth.
Coulthard says they fired Gleason and Berkowitz because their accounting methods were too conservative. If we can prove Coulthard breached their contract without reasonable cause, we win our case.
And all these boxes?
Internal memos from Coulthard. We ask for relevant documents, they bury us in irrelevant paperwork. Standard legal practice. We're looking for memos that relate specifically to Coulthard's business with G&B. You'll be starting here. I understand your concerns about KSL. That information is unavailable at this time, but I will be looking into it. Best James Stern.
So who's James Stern?
The treasurer at Coulthard.
When did Coulthard terminate Gleason and Berkowitz?
October 7th.
This memo was dated October 5th, which means that 2 days before they were fired for doing a bad job, the treasurer said they were doing a good job.
In a big corporation like this, it's normal for the right hand not to know what the left is doing.
Has anyone tried talking to this guy Stern?
We've tried talking to all the execs at Coulthard. They keep ducking their depositions.
Shouldn't we show this to Whitney?
I will. Keep working.
Fine. Take all the credit.
Don't worry. I'll make sure Whit knows who really found it. I'm Patrick Heller, BWM's resident non-WASP attorney.
Right. The guy with the face full of palm fronds.
I bet you have that effect on a lot of men.
Look, Patrick, I'm gonna save you a little time. You're a cute guy. Nice hair. And I bet you look great naked. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to work. So just think of me as one of the guys.
That's gonna be a little hard.
Mr. Stern, I'm Alex DeMonaco. Do you have a moment?
Yeah.
Oh, cute kids. How old?
Chris is 10. He's at the age of embarrassment. Whatever I do embarrasses him. And Amber's 5.
Oh, the artist.
She thinks everything I do is funny.
5's my favorite age.
You have kids?
Yes.
Best thing that ever happened to me. You puts all this craziness in perspective. What can I do for you?
Mr. Stern, did you write this?
come on. I already explained this to you guys. When I wrote that memo, I didn't realize we were about to cancel our contract with G&B.
So they were doing a good job?
Of course they were doing a good job. Not like those bozos we got working for us now.
What about KSL?
What about KSL?
Well, here you say that the information is unavailable.
And what was I supposed to say? Vogler made it clear KSL was off limits. What's going on here? Does Vogler think I said something about KSL?
Why don't you tell me what you know about KSL?
Who are you?
I told you I'm Alex.
Now, who do you work for?
Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan.
All right. How did you get in here?
Mr. Stern, coal tar can buy itself a lot of things, but there isn't a broom big enough to sweep this under the rug. Whatever is going on here, it will come out.
Leave. Right now.
The best way to protect yourself is to just tell the truth.
Protect myself? That's what you people think I'm doing? I'm protecting them.
Who?
Those people are like family. We have picnics, like baseball.
Great, let's go.
Spaghetti factory. Airport exit, 8 o'clock.
Are you aware that it's professionally unethical to talk to someone represented by counsel in an adversarial manner?
I wasn't adversarial. I was nice.
You know what could happen if Stern tells his lawyers that you accosted him in his office?
He won't. This will help our case.
Really? Based on what legal precedent?
Body language. When I was in prison, I developed a gut for reading people.
Your prison gut is going to get me disbarred.
Oh, you've got to try the cheese toast.
Zesty and full-bodied, with just a hint of aged Velveeta. So, you think I'm a rich, heartless, stuck-up snob?
Maybe I was a little unfair. I don't know that you're rich.
One of the most important things they taught us at Harvard wasn't just how to practice law. It was how to act like a Harvard lawyer. We had to learn how to play the game.
That's what my husband used to say. I thought it was his way of justifying his $3,000 suit while I was in pantyhose with holes in them.
I read the case. Your husband gives lawyers a bad name.
My husband gave husbands a bad name.
So I figure you're single? Well, you never call anyone to tell them you'll be home late.
I never did. That's probably why there are 3 ex-somebodies.
You were married 3 times?
What are you doing?
When people lie, they give it away somehow. You know, they squint or they tug at their ear. In poker, it's called a tell. You're telling the truth. You gonna eat that?
Be my guest.
Thank you.
So, Miss DeMonaco, where do you come from, exactly?
My dad was in the Army, so we followed him around a lot. I'm an Australian New Yorker by way of East LA. So, your father was a lawyer, right?
A surgeon. My uncle was a lawyer, Marshall Morgan Whitney.
Oh, my God. Just cause. My life as a criminal lawyer. I read that like 3 times. So why didn't you get into criminal law?
I did.
And?
And I preferred civil law.
Oh, see? That's a lie.
Your Mr. Stern is late. So much for your prison gut.
Wait, slow down.
It's him. It's James Stern.
Earlier this evening, the body of coal tar treasurer James Stern was discovered by police in a car near the San Francisco International Airport. The executive for the Bay Area energy giant apparently took his own life with a handgun. Authorities have not yet released the suicide note found at the scene. In it, however, Stern was reportedly despondent over the fact that he was about to be fired from his high-paying job with California's 3rd largest company. Coal tar CEO Richard Ross and CFO Carl Vogler had this to say.
It's such a tragedy. James was a good man and a good friend.
An ear puller?
Was Mr. Stern going to be fired? Yes, that's true, I'm afraid.
I don't know what you're hiding, mister, but you're a lying sack of...
Rule number 9, no TV after 11 p.m.
Stern!
I'm sorry, I rang the bell. I'm Alex DeMonaco.
I already called the police on you people once today.
I'm not a reporter. I work for the firm that's suing Coal Tar.
No lawyers either. Do I have to let out the dogs to make my point?
I'm not a lawyer. I would like to stick my dogs on a few of them, though. Look, I was going through some of Coal Tar's records a couple of days ago, and I found this.
Oh. Yeah, Amber drew that. She wants to be an artist when she grows up. Jim always tells her that. Oh. You know, if Jim had died of cancer, this house would be full of people wanting to help. And instead, there's just the kindness of a stranger.
The stranger doesn't think your husband killed himself.
After all your help, you can at least call me Sally.
Sally, can I see your husband's suicide note?
They said it was evidence. All they gave me was this. It's the windlass. It's used to raise the anchor. Jim and Chris were going to put it in this weekend. That was the last thing they had left to do. Jim went out to buy it, Winnie. Do you really think there's a chance that Jim didn't kill himself?
Yeah. The windlass. Right before he died, James Stern bought one.
A crank for an anchor?
Peaches Loretto.
Who is Peaches Loretto?
Did 3 years for burglary. Her husband killed himself. Told Peaches he was going to the store for a quart of ice cream. Got in his car, drove around the block, blew his brains out.
Mr. Monk.
Wait. James Stern drives to the boat store to buy the last piece of equipment he needs to build the boat with his kid, and then on the way home he kills himself? No way.
Mr. Monaco, this is a wrongful termination suit, not a criminal case.
It is if Stern was murdered.
We don't represent Mr. Stern. We represent Gleason and Berkowitz.
A faceless accounting firm that'll make, what, $4 million this year instead of 5? Sally Stern is broke with 2 kids.
Perhaps you should be using your time to prepare for the bar hearing.
I just graduated. I haven't even taken the bar yet.
And without their approval, you won't be able to. Muni Court Building 2, 9 a.m. Wednesday. I will be there.
The Coal Tar people are here.
What Coal Tar people?
Richard Ross has finally agreed to be deposed.
Oh, the lying ear puller?
Ah, yes. Another prison theory. If I had known that incarceration were so educational, perhaps I'd have gone to San Quentin instead of Harvard.
Oh, come on. They duck you for months, and the day after Stern kills himself, they're ready to talk? Well, I have a few questions I'd like to ask.
You will limit your questions to coffee, tea, or mineral water. Mr. Ross, Hamilton Whitney.
Mr. Whitney.
Mr. Thornton.
Mr. Whitney.
If you don't mind, I'd like to get started. I've got to be in Miami tonight.
Excuse me, honey. We just came off the Coal Tar jet, and we're real hungry. Can you rustle us up some sandwiches and coffee? You can stick your pretty finger in to sweeten it up.
Shall we?
I got a package for you. Copy of Stern's suicide note from a buddy of mine at SFPD.
Great, thanks.
That should rate dinner and a movie.
Maybe an espresso and a muffin. Could you ask him where Stern got the gun?
Mr. Ross, what were the issues involved in the decision to terminate Coal Tar's contract with Gleason and Berkowitz?
Well, we felt that their accounting work was too conservative. They did not take advantage of certain write-offs and write-downs that would be advantageous to the company.
So you fired them because they were too honest?
Object. Mr. Ross gave his answer.
Not to my satisfaction.
Their honesty wasn't the issue.
What was the issue?
It's difficult for a layman to understand the complexities of our operation.
But as the CEO, you do. Understand them, I mean.
Of course.
Good. Then you can explain Coal Tar's relationship with a company called KSL.
Are you on a fishing expedition, Counselor?
I like fishing, but I throw the little ones back. I like to wade out deep and catch the big ones.
You're in the wrong river here, Mr. Whitney.
Shall we get the judge on the phone right now, Mr. Thornton?
That won't be necessary. Mr. Ross will answer.
It's a South American investment company we do business with. I believe we own a small piece of it.
So you invest?
You know, I'm not really sure.
But you're the CEO. You said just a few moments ago that you understand these complexities. That's why you get the big bucks.
Coal tar does business with companies all over the world. I personally can't keep track of them all.
You lying ear puller.
You know, I'll take those.
When Gleason and Berkowitz requested information about KSL, they were terminated. Why were they denied access to KSL?
Well, you know, I understand it, and you'll have to check with my financial officer, Mr. Vogler. But since we own less than 20% of that company, we're not required to disclose any information.
But if you wanted Gleason and Berkowitz to be more aggressive, why would you deny them access to a possible source of further tax advantages?
Coffee, tea, or mineral water?
Thank you, honey. If all the office gals look like you, we ought to open an office up here.
Is it true that Coal Tar was planning to fire James Stern?
Yes.
What does Mr. Stern's employment have to do with Gleason and Berkowitz's termination?
Perhaps Mr. Ross can tell us about that.
Object, you're relevant.
Mr. Thornton, you're not in Texas. Your client will answer my questions, and you will keep your hands on your sandwich and off Miss DeMonaco.
First off, the note's typed. It's a lot easier to forge a signature than it is a whole note.
What about the signature?
You got one to compare it to?
Yeah.
Visiting hours end in 13 minutes. You see the loop on the J? It's shaky here. And the N, it's flat here. And this one has kind of a flip. My opinion, there's a good chance someone traced this one here.
God bless Mommy and Daddy and Chris and Bunny. And what's your name?
Alex.
And God bless Auntie Alex. Oh, and I hope Daddy brings me a toy when he comes home. Amen.
Very good.
I love you.
Night.
Sweet dreams.
I told them Jim was away on a business trip. And how do you tell a little girl that her daddy's never coming home?
Coal tar executives?
Jim was the only exec on the team. He was the one who bought those shirts.
These people are like family. We have picnics, play baseball. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah. Jim cared for all his people. We went to every wedding, birthday, and baby shower. That's our vacation in Aruba.
What's this?
I don't know. Something Jim took, I guess. It's local color.
Doesn't look very colorful to me.
Here we are. Jim's letters.
Everything's signed Jim.
Well, he only used James on company correspondence. Why? Oh my God. Oh It's all my fault.
Sally, no.
Stay here.
Piggyback right to bed. Jump on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Soon caterpillars hatch. They know what they must do. When it's time, each case is torn. Wings unfold. New butterflies are born.
Alex? You were so tired. I just took the kids to school. What time is it? Just a little after 9.
My hearing.
Prison. Let's go.
Alex, girl, what'd you do? This girl's going down.
Show's over, girls. Back to your rooms.
Mr. Leon?
Yes.
Hamilton Whitney. May I speak with you?
Nah, she ain't got no chance.
You're going to send her back to prison because she fell asleep?
She didn't report her place of employment. She stayed out past curfew.
The woman is working 2 jobs.
That's her choice. Terms of her parole only require 1.
Understood, but she's trying to get her name cleared so that she can become a lawyer.
A lawyer? She's an ex-convict. Give me a break.
Alex DeMonaco is the most stubborn, obstinate, pushy, annoying woman I've ever met. She's a bully, she won't listen, and frankly, she irritates the hell out of me. I think she'd make a terrific lawyer.
I don't have the same high opinion of the legal profession you do.
I gather you don't like lawyers, Mr. Leon.
I am a lawyer, Mr. Whitney. Spent 4 years in the public defender's office. I know what lawyers do. They climb in the backs of people like her to make their careers and don't give a damn what kind of shape they leave her in.
We're all paying for our past sins.
DeMonaco broke the rules.
And the rules say that what happens next is at your discretion.
Know how many women come through this place? Know how many I see with false hopes given to them by people like you?
She can make it. You know it. I know it.
Sorry about the hearing.
What were you doing back at the Stern house anyway?
Alex, where's the suit? Sally got a raw deal.
You're getting emotionally involved. Big mistake.
What is wrong with emotional involvement? If my lawyer had been a little more emotionally involved, maybe he would have given a damn about my case.
You violate parole one more time, Mr. Leon will give you something to be emotional about.
Someone broke into Stern's garage looking for something. Maybe they were from Coulthard.
Or just a burglar with bad timing.
What about Stern's suicide note? Sally told me her husband only signed the name James on Coulthard correspondence. For his personal letters, he was Jim. But his suicide note was signed James.
He was distraught. People who commit suicide usually are.
I showed the signatures to a friend doing time for check forgery. She thinks the suicide note was forged.
Being a felon doesn't make her an expert on forgery.
I knew you'd say that.
I'm glad I didn't disappoint you. Get Bill Williams on the phone, please, and have Mr. Heller come to my office with the Hunter's Point file.
Mr. Whitney, you have a message.
Sarah Keller has to go to New York, can't go to legal aid ball tomorrow night. Legal aid ball. Isn't the governor going to be there?
Yes.
You know, I was thinking...
No. Bill, hello. What's the status of Hunter's Point?
Well, hello there.
Hello yourself. What's Hunter's Point?
Hunters Point, that's a class action. The residents of Hunters Point want to sue the city because they feel that being a low-income minority housing project, they don't get as many police patrols as if they were, say, a middle-class neighborhood. It's racist and illegal. So, when are we having that muffin?
When you get a forensic expert to take a look at Stern's suicide note.
Come on, Bill. You know that's a blatant civil rights violation. Did you find a ruling?
Not yet, no.
Logan Heights versus the City of San Diego, 1989.
Logan Heights versus the City of San Diego.
Judge ruled the use of economic factors to determine police patrol frequency was inherently racist and therefore illegal.
That's right. I thought you'd see it that way, Bill. Bye. All right, Miss DeMonaco. What time shall I pick you up?
Hey, you know my foaming milk bath from France? Who wants it?
Hola, guapo.
Hola, mamacita.
Sé que es hombre. Oops.
I guess that means no.
Welcome to the yacht club.
I have to be back by 11.
Even Cinderella had till midnight.
Cinderella wasn't on parole.
People usually eat those, Miss DeMonaco.
I can't. I might stain my dress. Charlotte kind of borrowed this from the store that she works at. It has a 4 o'clock wedding tomorrow. You know, I was thinking, do you think you should call me Alex and I should call you...
No.
Whit, you old son of a gun.
Dave.
Where's Sarah?
Sarah is stuck in New York.
Well, you don't let any moss grow, do you? Aren't you going to introduce me?
Of course.
Mr. Kaplan and I have already met.
Really? We have?
People versus DeMonaco. Case B956031, insurance fraud, 5 years ago. You were the assistant DA at the time.
Oh, right.
Perhaps we could work our way over to the refreshments.
You know what I remember most about my trial? Is that you wouldn't look at me. Were you afraid that if we made eye contact, you might see that I was innocent? I'm sorry, did I say something to amuse you?
No. It was just that I never met a con that didn't insist that they'd been unjustly convicted.
I looked you up on the bar review. You graduated 3rd from the bottom of your class, from one of the lowest rated schools in the state. But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Kaplan, are you? You're a politician. And politics is about how much ass you can kiss. So that would mean that you must have the biggest lips in San Francisco.
What's Whit representing you on this time?
Actually, Miss DeMonaco's working for me.
Really?
I got my law degree in prison. Thanks for giving me the maximum sentence, by the way. Unlike you, I graduated at the top of my class. And when the governor gives me a pardon, I will be a lawyer. And I can't wait to get you into a courtroom because, trust me, it won't be pretty.
Well, it'll be pretty if you're there. Whit, it's always a pleasure.
Oh, I see an old friend I have to say hello to. Alone.
Los amigos están muy preocupados.
Las cosas no pueden ser así, de esa manera aquí.
Si no tenemos cuidado, nosotros vamos a estar en hielo también.
Excuse me. That man over there, I've been wanting to meet him all night. I just adore Latin men.
I believe that's Mr. Varela. Yes, Eduardo Varela.
Thank you. Excuse me, Senora Varela? I'm Alexandra DeMonaco. I'm a writer with Latina Ahora. I was wondering, do you have a moment for a short interview?
¿De qué, señorita?
Your business.
Banking.
I would really like to hear your thoughts about the future of banking and business in Latin America.
Female has followed him onto the terrace.
Do you foresee the expanded investment by American companies?
Oh, I certainly hope so.
Coal tar, for example?
Sí, Coal tar, IBM, AT&T. You know, Latin America has a lot to offer American business.
KSL, for example.
What do you mean?
Coal tar has a substantial share in the company, and KSL is in South America.
Listen to me. I told your friends I was not interested.
Mr. Varela, what friends?
We lost him.
I'm afraid the governor won't be coming. He's in Los Angeles trying to end the police strike.
Something weird just happened. I saw Ross talking to this man. Eduardo Varela, corporate executive of South American Banco Popular, was attending a black tie fundraiser at the Marina Yacht Club when witnesses on his way, blah, 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 blah. Coroner ruled the death an accidental drowning. Yeah, right. We'll be in ICE 2.
Ms. DeMonaco. FBI.
Who told you to make contact with Varela?
Nobody. I wasn't making contact. This isn't Mission Impossible.
Why did you tell him you were a reporter?
You were taping him. Why was he under surveillance? I was trying to get information. People aren't always too cooperative when you tell them that you work for a law firm. People don't like lawyers. Or FBI agents.
What information?
Why he was talking to Richard Ross, the CEO of Coulter.
Did you see anyone following Varela?
I thought his death was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. What about James Stern? Maybe his death wasn't a suicide either. Fine. Two can play that game.
Do you want to see your kid again?
Sullivan versus Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Court of Appeals, 1997. Parole violation without legal cause. Don't you dare talk about my daughter. Unless I am out of here right now, I am calling my lawyer, who also happens to be my boss, who also happens to be a friend of the governor. And if you want to make yourself useful, Agent Resnick, you'll go out and you'll find yourself a real criminal. Like my husband.
They had no business threatening you.
I'm a big girl. I'm used to standing up for myself.
Just because you're used to it doesn't make it right.
Tell that to the FBI.
Oh, I plan to.
Thank you. I'm not too good at depending on men these days.
If the FBI is interested in Varela's death, it was no accident.
Pretty sporty for an FBI agent.
Beck's not your typical agent.
Beck?
Hey, handsome.
Hey, Beck. Alex DeMonaco, Rebecca Goldstein, Whitney.
Whitney?
Let's walk.
Which number?
I shouldn't be talking to you.
Why is the Bureau so interested in Eduardo Varela?
Why are you?
We asked you first.
We thought he might be useful.
You mean like an informant?
That's not what I said.
You said you thought he might be useful. So you were trying to turn him into an informant.
Something like that.
Was he killed because someone found out you were trying to turn him?
Maybe.
And how does Eduardo Varela connect to Coulter?
I never said that he did.
Are you saying he doesn't?
No.
Is the Bureau investigating Coulter?
Can't answer that.
You could cuff once for yes and twice for no, like Deep Throat and All the President's Men. Or not.
I really should be going.
What about James Stern?
What about him?
Well, was he murdered?
Take care, Whit.
You too.
Your ex-wife is an FBI agent. How did that happen?
I met her during an investigation.
What was she investigating?
Me.
Mr. Agajanian, I have a favor.
Not another advance?
No, a different favor. Carlos told me that his friend Luis runs the crew that cleans Coulter.
It's true. Luis is a good employee. You are a good employee, too.
It's nice to be appreciated. Could you switch Carlos's crew with Luis's crew just for tomorrow night?
You desire to clean Coulter. No problem.
Thank you.
So, tell me, why is beautiful young girl like you alone?
Oh, I don't know. Men seem to be scared of me.
You? Sweet little girl.
Maybe it's because of my husband.
You have husband?
Had. He's dead.
So sad. How he died?
Oh, I killed him. With a steak knife. I thought he was cheating on me. Turns out he wasn't. Oh, well.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks. El mirado del programa de practice, si encontramos algo importante aquí, ¿cómo lo vas a usar en la corte?
No puedo. Pero, si encontramos una casa probable, sí podemos.
Okay, jefe. Where do we start?
Stern's office. Man, took his computer. Estamos en hielo.
Yeah, Spanish is so East LA. Estamos en hielo. It's South American. It means we're dead.
Where are we supposed to put these blocks? Okay, great.
Is it here? Yeah.
SOPs are under a court order to provide documents and shredding evidence.
Monica. Package came. I told man.
Rule number 10, or is it 11?
Do you want me to?
Taking those files from Coal Tar was illegal.
But I didn't go in as Alex DeMonaco, who works for Burdick, Whitney, and Morgan. I went in as Alex DeMonaco, who works for Speedy Clean Cleaning Services.
I don't care if you went in as Little Red Riding Hood. Those documents are stolen.
No, they're not. They were trashed. Apollo versus Lyman
Don't lawyer me.
Fine. I'll take them back.
However, since they're already here, we might as well have a look, albeit an inadmissible one.
Harvard Law rolls up his sleeves and gets his hands dirty.
It's called the playground defense. They started it.
Who's got third quarter this year?
Here. A second quarter, 2001.
Here.
Woo. All right, anybody for pizza?
Pepperoni?
I'm a vegan.
Rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2, 3. Poor Peggy. Even meat scares her.
Yeah, I bet nothing scares you.
Why? Because I went to prison?
Yeah.
The scariest thing is the realization that you're totally alone.
What about your family?
My mother came to see me every Christmas. Cried the whole visit. My brother wrote me 2 letters. He had just got promoted, so he couldn't take time off. For 5 years. Every day, you die a little inside. And finally, when it's time to leave, there's a part of you that's still dead. Gosh, look at me going on. This is what happens when my blood sugar gets a little low. What?
I'm sorry.
Keep reading. Peggy, where's the pizza, girl? What? When?
What you doing here?
You never write, you never call.
I've been busy.
Yeah, I can see that. Where'd you get the pills? Little Eva?
You come here to give me a hard time or what?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. You gonna die because they turned down your parole? What about your girls?
They don't know me no more. They call my ex-husband's new wife Mama now.
Oh, so that's it. Joseph got married again. She's not their mama. She will never be their mama. And when you get out, they will be there. Why'd they turn you down?
They said I wasn't remorseful enough.
Lynetta, I told you about that.
That man tried to touch my little girl, and he deserved what he got.
Okay. What else did they say?
Why we gotta do this now?
We got a year to get ready, girlfriend, because next time this happens, you're walking out of here. You have to keep the faith, baby.
Well, that's an interesting story, Whit. What do you expect me to do about it?
I would have thought that as DEA, you'd be concerned that a company in your city might be involved in criminal activities that could include murder.
Well, not when your information's coming from a convicted felon.
The FBI is investigating coal tar.
Yeah, the feds are always investigating somebody. Look, if they haven't asked for local cooperation, it can't be that important.
Dave, 2 people are dead.
Yes, one drowned, the other committed suicide. Coal tar's one of the biggest companies in this state. Get real, Whit. I worked my tail off to become DA. You think I'm going to commit political suicide? Geez, you think you'd have learned your lesson by now.
Kylie was innocent.
Kylie was a loser. But then again, maybe you like losers. I don't know. I can't believe you actually have DeMonaco working in your office.
I'm working on her pardon.
Really? Well, you know what? She is a babe. What, are you taking your fee and trade?
You know, Dave, Alex DeMonaco was right. You are a backstabbing political hack.
Yeah, but at least I'm good at it. Why don't you stick to what you're good at? Settling civil cases for your fat cat clients. Stay out of court, Whit. You don't have the stomach for it.
I broke parole today. I went to see a friend in prison, Lynetta McBride. She tried to kill herself. If I had to do it over, I would do it again. So if you want to write me up, go ahead.
No TV for a week.
Thanks.
Oh, Alex, I was trying to find you. Ted Castlebaum called. He said Eduardo Varela and Rafael Gonzalo both booked their flights to the U.S. through a travel agency here in San Francisco.
Which one?
I'm not a secretary, you know.
Obviously.
All right. What do we got?
You mean from me legally obtained coal tar documents?
Sarcasm noted, Miss DeMonaco. What have we got?
Coal tar ran into some big financial problems about 5 years ago. They had 2 new power plants that ran into expensive delays. They finished the pipeline in Texas that didn't perform as well as expected, and the oil explorations in Alaska did not pan out.
The result was that they posted record losses of almost $400 million.
And just as they were about to go under, they got a series of big loans from...
Eduardo Varela, Banco Popular.
The loans amounted to $2 billion.
But coal tar paid it all back 6 months later.
The other thing that's interesting is coal tar's source of income. Nearly 25% of their net income comes from foreign investments.
Their books are complicated, but when you sift through it all, what you finally come up with is that most of the foreign income which coal tar used to completely pay off their loan comes from a single company.
KSL.
It's some kind of investment company with its headquarters in Bogota, Colombia.
But coal tar owns less than 20% of the company, so they're not required by law to provide the IRS with books.
So we have no idea where KSL's money comes from.
They've got to be fabricating income. Dig deeper. I'll bet you there's no cash changing hands.
Which raises the question, what is the link between an energy company in Bogota and a bank in Aruba?
Aruba?
We may have another Enron on our hands.
Aloha! Or should I say hola? You're Armando Mateo, right? A friend of mine recommended that I come and see you. Eduardo Varela?
I don't remember the name.
I'm sure you remember Mr. Varela. He's 5'10", good-looking, and dead.
But I was just about to close up.
You know, don't worry. This won't take long. I was thinking about booking a trip to South America. Actually, Colombia. Bogota?
Never actually been there.
Oh, what about Rafael Gonzalo? Has he ever been there?
Again, I don't know.
Oh, sure you do. Yes, he was the other guy in the car with you when you tried to run me down. Good, now that we've got that straightened out. Can you tell me where this is?
You better leave now.
Or what? You gonna call the police? Let's do that. Better yet, let's call the FBI. Because I'm sure they would be very interested in those photos. You know, when your clients in Colombia find out that the feds are investigating, it'll be aloha to you. Or how did the late Mr. Varela put it? Estamos en hielo?
She didn't see their faces, Dave. She was too busy trying to stay alive.
Yeah, well, you know, it's probably somebody from prison who doesn't like her. And considering DeMonaco's personality, there should be plenty of candidates.
These pantyhose are extra shears. There goes $15.
How did that idiot ever get elected to the DA's office? He just lives in San Francisco.
Wait, I just got a heads up from Judge Brewer's office. Coal tar is asking for a summary judgment hearing. We want the judge to dismiss the case for insufficient evidence.
Mexico?
Third World Motel 6?
What if I told you that behind this door was an international company worth billions of dollars?
I'd say it was a front for something illegal.
Oh, 2 points to the man from Harvard Law. This is KSL. James Stern took these just before he died. He was in Aruba with his wife. Decided to take a little side trip to beautiful downtown Bogota.
My God, we've been going down the wrong road.
Oh, what road?
Peggy, pop quiz. Colombia, what's it famous for?
Coffee, of course. You mean Coulter's in the drug business?
Not necessarily. They could be in business with somebody who's in the drug business.
It's like Gigi Escalante.
Who's that?
Another prison associate.
She was running one of those check cashing places. Anyway, business was bad, she needed a partner, and in comes this Panamanian guy with this suitcase full of dead presidents.
And I thought this was another Enron.
Turns out it's a little more like Scarface.
Before you could say Tony Montana, Gigi was up to her false eyelashes and...
Money laundering.
Maybe Coulter didn't know about it at first. Large American company in trouble looking for an infusion of cash. Banco Popular rides to the rescue, offers them a loan. Before they realize where it comes from, it's too late.
And when Coulter found out, why didn't they go to the authorities?
Come on, Peggy, have you even seen Scarface? Probably the only people who knew were Ross and Vogler. Presumably the cartel would have threatened their families.
Drug money from Banco Popular goes into KSL's earnings.
Because Coulter doesn't have to show KSL's books, it's the perfect way to take dirty money and clean it up.
And that is why Coulter fired Gleason and Berkowitz. They're asking too many questions about KSL.
And their firings got Stern suspicious, so he went to Richard Ross.
Told his partners in Colombia.
And they killed him.
And when the FBI decided to turn Varela, they got to him first.
If this comes out, it could bring down the whole company.
Well, that's why Stern kept quiet, because he didn't want to hurt the employees.
It's a great theory. There's only one problem. We don't have a shred of proof.
What about the FBI?
They're not going to jeopardize their own investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have something by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to walk into that courtroom and apologize to the judge for wasting her time. And what's worse, Thornton is going to beat me.
Those men that broke into Stern's garage, they were looking for something.
Whatever it is, we need it, because ear pulling will not hold up in court.
To look at Amber's drawings.
What's going on, Alex?
They're on your husband's memos. Those men that broke in, they were looking for something. Your husband wrote. They were looking for this. Let's launch this baby.
Your Honor, for 6 months now, we have patiently acquiesced to every request from Mr. Whitney and his clients. We've provided documents. We've made ourselves available for questions. We've given depositions. But, Your Honor, enough is enough. The fact is, after all their investigating, after all of their poking and their prodding, they don't have a case. Coulter was perfectly within their legal rights to terminate Gleason and Berkowitz. Your Honor, we respectfully request that the court dismiss the complaint and Mr. Whitney stop wasting everybody's time.
Your Honor, we've been given meaningless documents. They refused to respond to our inquiries, and we were unable to depose Mr. Ross until 2 days ago. We believe that Gleason and Berkowitz was terminated because they were beginning to uncover evidence of something so fraudulent and illegal that it violated state and federal criminal laws.
Do you have any proof of that?
We believe we're very close to obtaining that proof, Your Honor.
Mr. Whitney, while I share your dismay at Coulter's obvious stall tactics, You've had 6 months, so unless you have some concrete evidence that Coal Tar terminated without cause, I'm going to have to dismiss the case.
Your Honor! My name is Alexandra DeMonaco. I work for Mr. Whitney. May I approach the bench?
Your Honor, this is highly inappropriate. Take a seat, honey.
It's my court, Mr. Thornton. I'll decide what's appropriate. You may approach, Miss DeMonaco.
This memo was written by James Stern, Coal Tar's treasurer, 1 week before Gleason and Berkowitz were terminated. I found it at his house. In it, he reveals his discovery that Mr. Ross and Mr. Vogler were engaged in illegal, potentially criminal practices with regard to Coal Tar, and that our clients' questions about said practices were the reason they were wrongfully terminated.
Your Honor, Mr. Stern is dead. And this alleged memo is not witnessed or notarized and is therefore highly suspect and completely unreliable. We ask that Mr. Stern's memo be ruled inadmissible as hearsay evidence.
But as hearsay evidence exception,
the memo could be admitted. Mr. Stern's memo clearly states that he believed Coal Tar's actions were fraudulent and possibly criminal. If he were implicated in those actions, he could have faced criminal prosecution himself. Thus, the memo was written against his own self-interests.
Your Honor, even if this memo was actually written by Mr. Stern, there's no evidence to suggest that my clients ever received it. Miss DeMonaco said that it was found at Mr. Stern's house, not at Coal Tar.
Miss DeMonaco, speak before you burst.
Your Honor, for days now, Coal Tar has been engaged in the wholesale shredding of company documents in violation of a court order to provide all pertinent documents for our law firm.
Is that true, Mr. Thornton?
Your Honor, like many companies, Coal Tar periodically destroys duplicate documents and other non-essential paperwork.
Well, that will cease immediately, Mr. Thornton. Let me see this memo.
Your Honor,
I can see why your clients would want to suppress this document, Mr. Thornton.
Your Honor, the charges in that memo are patently absurd.
I am going to accept this document into evidence, and I'm going to deny your motion to dismiss. And I'm warning you and your clients, if there are any more attempts to destroy evidence, I'm going to put all of you in jail. Now, gentlemen, I have been a Coal Tar shareholder for many years, and I find this betrayal of public trust, not to mention your employees, unconscionable. Rest assured, I will be passing this on to the federal government. And if you've gotten in bed with the devil, may God help you.
You lost, honey. Company team still playing, huh?
With Coal Tar's assets frozen by the government and the SEC halting trading, they needed a day like today.
Guess you heard about the federal indictments against Ross and Vogler. That Gleason and Berkowitz will be paid their full contract. Guess it really doesn't help these folks, though, does it?
If it wasn't for you, they'd be a lot worse off. You got the truth out.
Auntie Alex.
Thank you, sweetie. That's gorgeous.
The FBI has opened an investigation into your husband's death.
I don't know what to say.
Hey, I never leave a homegirl hanging.
Mr. Monaco, I've been going over the pardon book for the governor, and I've decided not to use yours.
No. Why not?
The governor is my friend, and I have to tell the truth. No embellishments, no exaggerations. I hope you understand. If it's not what you want, well, I'll understand if you decide to get other representation. Dear Governor Romero, I'm writing you this letter on behalf of Alexandra DeMonaco to request that you pardon her for her crime. Her passion for a just cause has inspired me to rediscover the reason I became a lawyer in the first place. She has reminded me the true purpose of the law is the pursuit of justice. In this book, you will find many who share my view that she would make an excellent lawyer. If she got into your office, and believe me, if she wanted to, she would find a way. She'd tell you that herself. Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Alexandra DeMonaco stands up and fights with the angels. We need her on our side.